Welcome to today's Table Talks. My name is Scott Kappelman. I'm joined by my two co-hosts. We've got Tyce Lawbinger just to my right, and then beyond him is Clark McGehee. How are you guys doing?
I'm just on sky high.
You are?
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
I finished school for a semester.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're feeling good.
I'm feeling so good. I do not like school, but we
Okay,
do
give
it.
us a quick synopsis of your school. How did you do grade-wise?
I'll finish with an A in both classes.
An A in both classes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All
I
right,
think the
Clark?
same is true for me too. I have
2 A's?
I had 3 classes.
Oh,
I
3
should
A's.
should have 3 A's. No, we don't have our grades yet, but it's pretty confident. We're both pretty confident. So, and I like school a little bit more than Tyce, but I did tell these guys every morning during this break, I'm going to think, I'm so glad I'm not in school right now.
Carpe
And it's
diem.
true. So far today, I've already thought that. I'm like,
You've already
man,
thought it today.
I have. I'm just like, man, this is nice. I can read what I want to read. It's what we were just talking about before the podcast started. I can rest, get some stuff done that I've been wanting to get done. So it's great.
Okay. Very good. Well, congratulations on getting the semester under your belt.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
moving on
much.
to more fun things. We're going to talk about a fun topic today.
Yeah, we are.
So today's topic is how much should we spend on Christmas gifts? And the first question I want to start with is, have either one of you already bought some gifts for Christmas?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah. I've got maybe 3 gifts left to get for Christmas for the
Okay.
entire family.
That's impressive.
Yep.
I've got every gift so far.
You've already bought them all.
All of them.
Wow.
Black Friday, I'm a sales guy. I'm a big numbers guy, and I'm thinking Black Friday is the time to get them. So Black Friday, I get every single gift that I need.
And you're done.
I think Annabeth has to get one for somebody, but other than that, I'm done.
That's impressive.
I'm very pleased. Now all we got to do is wrap them.
Okay.
I have learned one thing though. The earlier you get your gifts, that means there's more money available closer to Christmas, which just means it's going to get spent on baked goods or cooking or anything like that. I've learned in our house we're cooking a lot of things right now. We're baking a lot of things right now. So,
That's
Okay.
probably true. It does feel like we didn't spend as much this year only because I spent it all earlier.
yeah.
So
How about you,
think
Pastor Scott?
I don't buy gifts.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just going to go ahead and put that on the table. I do not like gifts. I never have liked gifts from my childhood to the present. I'm just not a gift giver.
Oh, no pun intended to the present.
Yeah, to the present. That's exactly right. Thanks for catching that.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'm not a gift giver. I don't like it. I would like to use the word I hate it, but I know that would be offensive to a lot of people. So
Okay.
I'm just going to say I dislike it with great intensity. So there you go. Okay, but I did do some statistical studies. And as far as Christmas gifts, according to the National Retail Federation, Americans spend on average, they spent $997.93 on Christmas gifts in 2024.
Wow.
So $1,000. And the people who spent the most on Christmas gifts last year were people in the 45 to 54-year-old range. Which
that
probably
doesn't
makes
shock me at
a little
all.
bit of sense. They probably got
brand
grandkids.
new grandkids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they've got disposable income for the first time.
Or they just have 4 or 5 kids in the house.
Well, yeah, they might have 4 or 5 kids
true.
still living in the house. That's
Yeah.
a good point,
With
too.
maybe a few grandkids.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And then
Checks.
another study done by Megan Ziegler, who works for Fox TV. This was December the 17th of last year, 2024. She said that parents spend $461 per child at Christmas.
Whoa.
So
That
if you've
is
got
a statistic right there.
that's we're looking over here at Sarav. He's got 2 children, so that would be $900 just on the kids if he goes with that statistic.
Sarav said that's light work for him. Easy.
He's nodding his head vehemently no.
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
true.
spending that kind of money.
Yeah.
And this was the most shocking statistic. Then I'll move on to some other things. 49% of parents, according to the same article by Megan Ziegler, Fox TV, 49% of parents expect to go into debt
Whoa.
to purchase their children's Christmas gifts.
Wow.
49%. That's
I never
half.
would have guessed that.
So this is a relevant topic.
This is a
sure.
very relevant topic.
So how much should we spend on Christmas gifts? Obviously, I'm going to say from the very beginning, we should not go in
I
debt
would agree with
to
that.
buy Christmas gifts.
I would agree.
Let's make that clear if you're watching. Please do not go into debt to buy Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Okay, so have either one of you been doing any research on what the top gifts for children are this year?
A little bit. I've got to keep up with some of the trends being a kids minister.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your list is, but I know according to the list that I've been looking at, because I'm shopping for nursery toys right now.
Yeah.
There's a Bluey Supermarket, which is just number one, according to this list. Let me think. I'll pull
Do you
the
know how
list.
much it cost?
Upper 40s.
Okay, upper 40s.
The best I could tell you while Tyce looks for his list is I'm not a children's minister and I don't buy toys for the youth groups. So, the best I can tell you is what I have gotten my niece, which was a Barbie doll and a few Barbie movies. And then some of my nephews, but they're a lot younger.
Was there a particular Barbie that she wanted, or you just bought a Barbie in general?
She just wanted a Barbie in general. I will say my niece thinks I hung the moon. So she said whatever he gets me, I'll be very happy with. She's like 6,
wow.
so she's very sweet. But I wanted to get her a unique Barbie because this will get into some of what I want to talk about today, but she probably has 20 Barbies. And I wanted to get her one that was more unique. So Annabeth and I decided it's like a little ice skating Barbie, and it's from one of the movies that we got her too. So she can play with it maybe while she's watching the movie. I don't know.
So she plays with the Barbies that she gets. She doesn't just leave them in the box as a collector's item.
I hope she plays with them. I don't get to see her often enough.
You know, there
but-
are people who buy Barbie dolls for their kids, but they leave them in the box. The wrapping ever is broken, and then they put them in a shelf and look at them, but they anticipate somewhere down the road they're going to make a lot of money on those. Whether they
That's
do
true.
or not, I don't know. But
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, back to Tyce. He had a list.
Yeah. So there's a Fisher Price DJ table that is just
Really?
Yeah, it's big,
Wiki,
and
wiki.
I see a lot of videos on it of just parents and just like nursery people, and they're just making fun of it, talking about how you think you're ready for nursery until it's 9 a.m. and you have a 2-year-old dropping like beat drop. Just, so that one's big.
That's awesome.
And then a lot of video game stuff, a lot of technology, iPads,
That
Nintendo
checks
Switch
out.
are up there. That's what I've
Okay.
seen. So I don't know what you have, but
I went a different route, and I don't necessarily agree with the list that I have because I think some people put it together that might not know children real well. It was from the Good Housekeeping 2025 Top Children's Gifts list.
Okay.
I was going to give you a few. One is Lego Wild Animals, and
Okay.
in particular the Panda family,
okay.
and that runs for $31.99, and it's very similar to those flower Legos. You build it, and it's in the shape of a panda family.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see.
If that
yeah.
makes sense, yeah. And then, now this is probably true. Play-Doh 6 variety compounds. This is a Play-Doh set that you can mix and match and make new compounds with. $14.83 is the price
Oh, wow.
on
That's
that.
what we always would have wanted. Play-Doh always got mixed and
then-
turned brown.
There was a Run the Runways fashion design kit. That was for girls, obviously, but I couldn't find a price. It must be so popular. Amazon didn't even have it listed as a priced item. You had to go to a third source
Oh, wow.
in order to get it. So I think it must be pretty popular. And then two more. Spider-Man Venom versus Liquid Shifter action figure.
I know what that is.
You know that?
You do know what that is? Okay, cool.
It's $22.49.
I'm rocking with Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah. And then the last one is Exploding Pigeons Game. And that's only $9.99.
Pigeon game.
I feel like it's an older kids list.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Very
I'm interested in the prices. That's expensive. A lot of like Play-Doh, $14 for Play-Doh.
Right.
It's
Well,
just
you get 6 varieties.
6
Come
cups
on,
of
Tyce.
Play-Doh. I mean,
Well, I was impressed that nothing on the list that I had was the most expensive was the Lego set, which was $31.99. Now, again, I don't know what the Run the Runways fashion design kit actually cost. It
Right.
must be so popular. We don't have a cost, which means it'll be more than it should be.
For sure. That's usually how it checks out.
But the Spider-Man was $22.49. So, I mean, I don't know how you look at that. But anyway, I want to give that to you. All right,
Yeah,
let's go
thank you.
back to some questions. When you give gifts, this is one of the questions I want to ask. Do you tend to buy things like at a store, or do you make something homemade? Because Tyce, you gave out some gifts to your workers that you made, and I thought it was very impressive what you gave them.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do both. I do more homemade things. I'm sure Clark's gonna say the same thing because of the accessibility we have with the Idea Shop here in Starkville.
Yeah, if you live in Starkville, we have the Idea Shop, which is run by Mississippi State, and it's on Main Street.
Yep.
You pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Yep, $25.
But you get a lot of access to some tools and equipment that you can do a lot of things
Thousands of
with.
dollars of tools. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that helps. I tend to do a homemade gift. If I'm buying more than one gift for the person, they will get something that I've made.
Okay.
So,
Clark?
Yeah, I agree with that. It depends on the year. So last year I got a lot of homemade gifts for people. So I didn't want to be like stereotyped as that person who's always going to make like some kind of homemade something, I don't know, that nobody wants.
And
but-
y'all gave together last year a homemade gift to your volunteers that I thought was really neat. You made a cup holder,
the coasters,
Yeah.
the coasters
with the Crosspoint logo.
with the Crosspoint logo, and I thought those were really neat.
I agree. I liked those. I thought that was a good gift. So it depends on the year, I would say.
But obviously, with your comment about Black Friday, you're also buying gifts online as well.
I am. So this year I bought more gifts online than I did make.
Do either one
Just-
of you still go to the store to buy a gift?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do not know.
You do go to the store.
I do. Yeah, I like to see it. I like to hold it and look at it because you never know. Like a gift I bought my dad was he wanted more lapel pins, and so I bought them. And the reason I'm saying this is 'cause I'm not giving it to him because the lapel pins came out about this big, like bigger than a quarter.
Really?
And that is like you're not gonna put that on your suit. It's gonna weigh down your suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, just ideally being in the store is nice for me. I prefer it.
Okay.
And sometimes I regret not having seen it. It comes in and I go, this is different than I thought.
Yeah.
But
I do buy a lot of stuff online, not buying Christmas gifts
Yeah.
in general, but I do like to hold things and see things. So going to the store still has an appeal
Yeah.
at some level for me.
yeah.
I also just like this is going way off topic. I think I just enjoy shopping, not so much of the fact that I like being in the store, but I typically do all my phone calls while I'm walking in the store. Like if
Really?
I know I need to call someone, I'm gonna do it in the phone because I know I'm gonna be walking. I know I'm gonna be up and active, and so I can walk in the store for about 45 minutes while I call someone, and just look at things and shop. But
Interesting.
so I do
would've-
enjoy just going through the store. I don't enjoy shopping, but I do enjoy going to the store because I know I'm very productive while I'm there.
Okay.
No, Annabeth and I have turned into like the Wally people. We get it all ordered, brought to our car. You know what I'm talking about with Wally, the movie?
Uh-huh.
No, I hope we don't get to that point, but we do get it delivered and that kind of thing. So
Okay. All right. Let's go back. I'm going to use my past question. What was your family's Christmas present giving practice as you were growing up? Did you have a strategy that y'all followed every year for the most part?
Annabeth's family is a lot easier on us than my family is. My family has always been, only recently really has my family begun to really grow. Like I got married, my brother got married. My oldest brother's been married for a while, but we were all that was a slow process. Now it's like we all have a lot of people in the family. So we've always done, everybody gets a gift. Annabeth's family is like you draw a name of all the cousins and you get one gift for one person, and it's a lot easier on the budget on that one. So I'm thinking about telling my family this year, not such a bad idea if we want to do that next year. So
That's what I had in mind. That was what I wanted to follow up with on the question. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyce?
Yeah. So I mean, my family, we love Christmas. My family, we're all gift givers, and that's all. Like all of our love languages are gift giving, and that's up there. And so, I remember Christmas, like we'd come out, and it was just like it was packed in that room. Now there are 6 people in my family, and so it's just like I'm not gonna say we all had this crazy budget. There's just a lot of gifts for 6 people on the ground, but we.
Yeah.
Like we made sure everyone got gifts. Everyone got multiple gifts. Stockings were a big thing in my family too. So our stockings were stuffed growing up. Now with the extended family, we knew our budgets for everyone. Like everyone had the same budget. We typically do not a Secret Santa, but just like the party game, like White Elephant. You put all the gifts in the middle, you grab. But this year, we've kind of gone away from that because there's been some newborns in the family of just hey, like money's a little bit tighter. But this year we're doing nice gifts instead of joke gifts. But that's just everyone in my family is a gift giver. Now on Brooklyn's side. they are less gift givers. They enjoy giving gifts, but it's more of a, hey, this is what you need. This is what you want. And then for like me, all the men get a man gift. It's like last year I got a shotgun. That was my man gift. But some years it's like a shot vac, or the first year I was there, I got a drill. So just stuff like that.
Okay, well, I did run across an article where it said it was called the 7 gift rule at Christmas. And this is how you could do it. Something they want, something they need, that's number 2. Something to wear, number 3. Something to read, number 4. Something to do, which is an experience, like going to the movie together, so buying everybody a movie ticket. Something for the family, and number 7, something to share or give away with someone else. So you could do it that way. You could either choose one of the 7, or you could do all 7 in a very small way. So I just thought that was I'd never seen anybody write it quite like that. So I like that. I was just going to share that. All right. Do you have a budget when it comes to Christmas presents in your family?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am typically around the $35 range.
For each person?
For each person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you come up with your number?
It's just grown. As a kid, it's like you don't make money, so it's like you and all your siblings, it's like $3 to $5. And then when I got my first job, I'm like, okay, I can do like 20, and now I'm a full-time job, and I'm like
35
to 40.
Okay.
Good area.
Clark, you're looking kind of...
I don't really want to share mine now because I have a full-time job too, but it's not $35. I have an Excel sheet of everything, and I have put it all out, and everything divides up to, other than Annabeth, which is different in my opinion, is $26 a person is what I got away with. $26.03 I think was the exact number.
I thought you were going to say
if
something.
You have a bunch of children though, you can probably buy cheaper gifts for them.
That's
like a Barbie
exactly
doll.
right.
I don't know what you paid for, but it could have been $9.99. It could have been $15.
That's almost exactly right, actually. Both my brothers I spent about $33 on, but it averages out kind of because of some of the smaller gifts. So, yeah, that's true.
Okay, that's good. How much do you think is appropriate to spend on a person?
That is a
or
great
does it
question.
depend on who the person is? You said Annabeth is in a different category.
That's true. So I have kind of a direction I wanted to take this question.
Okay,
I knew what
let's
we
go.
were going to do with this. And I think the question is less how much is appropriate and more of why, like what is it that you're giving them? Is it, and I'm guilty of this too, especially with the Secret Santa. Sometimes I'll get somebody and I go, I really do not know what this person wants. And I feel like I end up giving them just wastefulness, you know? And that's I feel like a big theme of Christmas sometimes is we can just be so wasteful. So I have a verse to read.
All right, give it to us.
There's not a lot in the Bible actually about wastefulness. It was so shocking to me as I was studying up on this, but I think this is a good example. John 6, Jesus had just fed the 5,000, and Jesus just somehow creates this fish out of thin air. It just shows up in the basket. And even so, he says, when they were full, he told his disciples, collect the leftovers so that nothing is wasted. So they collected them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces from the 5 barley loaves that were left over by those who had eaten. And I think that this is a good practice for us to look at because it was intentional to collect the leftovers. I mean, I think that they wanted to make sure that nothing got wasted. And I think a lot of times in Christmas, we can just buy things for people because it's the nice thing to do and we feel like we should, but it just ends up being so wasteful. So if you're spending $460, whatever your number was,
$461, I think, per child.
$460. You know, if you feel like this is going to be something that they really use for the rest of their lives. I got an Xbox when I was a kid. I'm sure it was expensive. My brother and I got it as a gift for the both of us, and we used that thing. I mean, that was a gift that we used. But I have gotten so many other things that I never looked at again. So I think it's just gauging, you know, is this really going to be a gift that they care about, that they want, or not? So that's kind of my answer there. But
That's good. I like that.
That's good.
Tyce, you got thoughts on it?
Yeah. So before I go to scripture, our now that we're all grown, it's really nice because my family's just to try and avoid the wastefulness. It's like, hey, like, what is your Christmas list? Like, this is something that I know you want, because they don't want, like, obviously it's a terrible feeling to like have opened up a gift and you see like the person just on their face like, I don't like this. Yeah. Was just terrible. Like, that was just so bad. And so for my family, it is just like, hey, in October, right before Halloween, there's a big text sent out like, hey, what does everyone want for Christmas? And then the group chat, we send everything that we would want. And then you know, like, these are the things I want and these are what's getting, that's what's going to be given, which is great. There's always some surprises for my parents, obviously. They're spending more on us than I'm spending on my siblings. But that's really good. It's been a culture shock to Brooklyn, because that's just not like, she just hates like having people look at her and give the gifts, and she's like, I just want to be surprised, like get what you think I want, kind of thing. And so it's just been a shock, but I do think it's important to understand the idea of giving. And so my verse is Philippians 2:4, and so I'm gonna read it, and you're gonna be like, you can go crazy with this gift, depending on the way you interpret it. But it's, let each of you look not only on his own interests, but the interests of others. And so I think, coming from a gift giver love language personality, the idea of gift giving should not be, hey, I'm doing this for my pleasure because I enjoy gift giving, but truly, what is this person's interests? Am I giving this gift not for them to feel like I'm showing them love, but do they truly enjoy it? Do they truly like it? And so the same thing is true. If I'm giving Clark a gift, he's giving me a gift. We should be able to look at the interests of others, not the interests of ourselves, and in a budget way, like, hey, like, I know he's interested in this, but maybe we can't do it this year, afford this. And so look at the interest of someone else and say, maybe I can get him a bigger gift, but for the interest of him, let's keep it small this year. And so I think, just as a family, you got to collectively come together before Christmas and say, Philippians 2:4, let's look at the interests of each other. Let's decide what we want, so that way we're not wasteful. But then also, let's look at the interests of each other and the stewardship side of it, of money, and what can we all do.
It's good.
That
I
is
like
good.
these.
Yeah,
I was going to share the traditional verse that would probably go with this, which is Matthew 2:11, where the wise men come and visit Jesus. And it says, entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, obviously, the gold, frankincense, and myrrh had some symbolic meanings that kind of represented the future life that Jesus was going to live, and his death, and his burial and resurrection, and his, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. There's a lot of symbolism in that. But I also do think that the resources they provided ended up becoming strategic. Because Mary and Joseph ended up having to flee from Bethlehem not long after this, and they were already poor, and we know they were poor because they presented Jesus in the temple with 2 turtle doves instead of what the normal requirement was. They were on the low level of what needed to be presented on behalf of Jesus when he was born. So these gifts ended up probably becoming the financial resources that carried them through the trip to Egypt, the stay in Egypt, and the return to Nazareth.
I think that's fair to say.
And so for me, I think that's why I don't like Christmas giving, is I think it has become excessive, and we're giving gifts to people who already have everything, and the original gifts were probably very strategic and, to your point, maybe helpful for Mary and Joseph more than they even realized in the moment. And so that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the wastefulness. I loved your verse because Jesus said, collect the leftovers. We don't want to waste this. I think Christmas is a wasteful time period, and it drives me crazy.
And I'll even chase that a little farther and say, I'm also a gift giver. So I sympathize with, I'm not as bothered in my heart to give somebody something, even that I know that they're not going to use, because I'm like, okay, I'm just a gift giver. I want it to be something that they're happy with, but if it's something they won't use, it's not as big of a deal to me. I'm just knocking everything over in the office here today. But I have a verse here, 1 Timothy 6:6-10. I'll try not to take too long. I know it's a few verses, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out. If we have food and clothing, we will be content with these. But those who want to be rich fall into temptation, a trap, and many foolish and harmful desires, which plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, and by craving it, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. So I want to ask you guys, like to your point, Pastor Scott, how do we teach contentment in the season of giving, in this Christmas season? I mean, like, it should be all about we're content in Christ. Thank you for the greatest gift that makes me to be able to be content for all that life brings. So how can we teach contentment in the face of spending $460 per child? And I'm not, like I said, I got the Xbox once and it was a great gift and I'm sure it was a lot of money. I'm not necessarily hating just on that number, but I think all of us can probably be honest and say there's a good bit of wastefulness that happens during Christmas. So how can we teach and encourage contentment?
I wish I knew the answer to your question. I think it's a great question and a very appropriate question. And the only thing I can say is just to continue to emphasize, at least from a church's perspective, the real meaning of the season. And I know we do that every year, and it almost has been done so much in the local church, it probably falls on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing I know is the whole celebration of Christmas is about Jesus' birth, but we have transformed it into everything but that.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a real good answer for you. One of the ways that Kelly and I tried to minimize for our kids when they were growing up in our house was we only gave them 3 gifts. It was usually something very large that they really wanted, and then it was probably something they needed, and then something we just thought they would enjoy.
Okay, that's good.
And we kind of tied it to this concept of, I know there were probably more than 3 wise men. There could have been 50. We don't know.
Right.
We just know there were 3 gifts given. So to help us have a bridge to our children to say, you know, the meaning of this season is about Jesus. You're only getting 3 gifts. And that was our way of trying to tie it back to the birth of Jesus and not go overboard and just go nuts in how much we spent on them. And because we were providing the stuff they needed on an ongoing basis. Mm-hmm. So Christmas was just like gravy on the steak.
Yeah.
You know, on the country fried steak, because I like a little gravy on it. So
yeah, there we go.
These 3 gifts were gravy. So that's the only thing I can say. Tyce, you got thoughts on that?
I think that's good.
My first thought is I'm glad you corrected to country fried steak, because I'm thinking who puts gravy
nobody puts it on real steak. That's right.
That's just terrible.
Yeah.
No, and I was thinking about what to say while Clark was reading, and so I didn't hear where he was at. And when he started reading, I thought he was in Ecclesiastes. And just the being content and like.
There is a lot in Ecclesiastes.
Ultimately, like you're just gonna die and you can't take anything with you, and so just the idea of, you know, maybe sometimes to help with contentment, like a church. Obviously, I'm not going to say a church shouldn't teach about the birth of Christ, but maybe in your sermons leading up, maybe don't talk as much about the joy of the season, because then you get people in the mood to like, yeah, I'm going to go spend more money and do all this. But like, maybe you do preach a sermon or two about like, hey, we got what we need, and it's all vanity. It's all just going to be one day we're just going to die. Like your kids are going to grow out of it in 6 months. Especially the younger they are, the faster they're going to grow out of it. And not to say it's not good. I think, like, I personally think you should give gifts to your kids that they want, and just try and make Christmas as whimsical and wonderful as you can. To what we talked about last year in this time of table talks, of just as they're at that age, you try and make it as special as possible for them. But there is this idea of just giving what they need and having it not overboard. I looked up, I was just looking up Bible verses, and I asked Google in the AI overview of the way the Bible says you should give gifts. And I'm not condoning, like, we should not just stop at AI. I think you should go further through the Bible, but it just says the Bible teaches you should be generous, cheerful, but wise as a steward when giving gifts. And so as a gift giver and as a gift receiver, you should be generous. Like, hey, this is not about me. This is for like the people I'm giving gifts for. And we should be cheerful on both sides, like cheerful. Hey, like God loves a cheerful giver. I know that's for when it comes to giving money to the church, but we should be cheerful in giving up something from us for someone else. But ultimately, we should be wise, as Clark has talked about, in our stewardship.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the church teaching more lessons like this. So before we get to the gifts every year, we always read Luke chapter 2. Yeah. And for me as a kid, it's like, okay, let's hurry up and read this thing so I can get to my gift. But I think it could be a good idea. I was just thinking as we were giving this podcast that this year I might ask if I could also read 1 Timothy 6 through 10 like I just did, just as a reminder of, hey, we're about to get these great gifts. It's going to be a blessing. It's going to be wonderful. But we should be content. And maybe even go to Philippians 4 too. You know, like not 4 verse 2, but Philippians 4 as well, where Paul talks about, you know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, all that comes before that is about contentment and contentment in all circumstances. So I think it's just a good reminder. So I agree.
So expanding your scripture reading, which is going to make the kids really mad. They're going to be, when is he going to stop?
Yeah, that's right.
That's good. All right. So do you have any advice as we kind of get to the end of this? Do you have any advice about how to be a good steward at Christmas? Now, I think we've talked about a few. Mm-hmm. For example, I had in the list, and Tyce, I think you talked about this, establish a Christmas budget in advance before you get into the middle of the Christmas season. That may be one way. And then I had written down I was going to talk about the 3 gifts that we gave our children at Christmas and how we connected that to the wise men visiting Jesus. So those are 2. Any others that you might want to have? Offer.
Yeah, you could ask yourself, is this going to be a gift that they really appreciate, that they really use? Or is this just, my mom would always want to get equal amount of gifts for each kid. So,
can I just make a comment right there? If you're watching and you're a parent, life is not fair. Don't try to be fair in everything you do, including giving gifts. That's my mantra. It's one of those things that drives me nuts too. I mean, we think life should be fair, and it's never fair. So it's okay.
If my mom's listening, I love you, Mom. I appreciate you always doing that, but I kind of agree. I mean, there were gifts that were just like
you got a slinky just to get that number
correct.
7.
That's correct. Right. Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm never going to use.
Like there are certain years where a kid is at a stage where a good bicycle is needed for outdoor activity, but the other 2 kids are not going to get bikes that year, and that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
And you may not spend as much on the other 2 as the kid who got the bike, and it's okay.
Yeah. So ask yourself, is this going to be useful for them? Is this a meaningful gift, or is this just to fill the number up? And then don't I appreciate what Tyce said. I think we should still give gifts. Don't say, hey, I'm going to gift you with the gift of contentment this year. So don't necessarily do that. But even ask yourself, like, hey, is this gonna further them in their walk with Christ? Is this going to help them to be content, or does this maybe a stumbling block for them to give them 25 gifts about that they don't even really want? Is that going to be a stumbling block on their contentment walk? So that kind of question.
Yeah, I think for me, and I think I've beat around the bush on this, but it's just a struggle for me of the loving to give gifts, and so I give gifts for my enjoyment, and I really got to tell myself, like, hey, that's good. Am I spending more money on this, and are they really going to benefit anything from it, or is it just filling myself up? The fact that I'm giving them more gifts, not in pride or anything, but just out of the love of doing it for them, and just like. Sometimes you can go overboard and they get you 1 gift and you've brought them 7. And it's like, we're not the fairness side, but just you overdid it. Right. And then you're not being a steward. You're not doing it for the love of them. You're doing it for the love of yourself. And it's just to be content helps. It doesn't just help in the receiving of trying to be content, but the more you give, the less content you're probably going to be about yourself.
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah. That is. I appreciate that both of you recognize you like to give gifts, and a part of the gift-giving process at Christmas can be more about you than the other person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to be aware of. I think that's really profound.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people think about that. Okay, I got 2 things and we're done.
Great.
As far as ideas. One is have a conversation with your family to determine the best way to handle Christmas giving in a money-saving way. You mentioned this, Clark. It might be time to have a conversation. So, instead of buying everybody a gift, maybe you do a dirty Santa for 1 year. And then the next year, you just give the parents of the family, like the grandparents, the patriarchs, but no sibling gifts. Or you could do strategic giving. 1 year, you could give everybody a book. Next year, you could give everybody socks. The next year, you could give everybody a board game. And so you kind of define it. We're going to stay within this realm this year and only give this type of gift to kind of narrow it down to what you want to do. You could draw names, and then you could just not give any gifts but do an experience together. For example, the whole family could go to a movie. The whole family could go to a hockey game. The whole family could go ice skating in Tupelo because we live close. They do the ice rink at the Bancorp South Center.
A vacation.
And so And so you, instead of buying gifts, you could just do an experience that everybody will remember, make some pictures at.
I know families that do that, and they love it.
Yeah,
we
it's
did,
fun.
We did that with Brooklyn's family this year for Christmas and Thanksgiving. We just lumped in
did the cruise,
a whole cruise.
Well, we took our family
great.
to Washington, D.C. a few years ago for Christmas, and it was probably one of the best Christmases we ever had. We flew out on Christmas Day and came back on New Year's Eve, and it was great. Yeah. And then the final suggestion is adopt a family that's truly in need instead of purchasing gifts.
That's great.
For your family, and ask your whole family to participate in that.
That's great.
So
I mean, that's
another idea. Yeah. Okay. All right. We hope you've enjoyed this. We've gone 36 minutes, I see, or 35 minutes.
I see. So I was sitting there just like,
yeah, he's going, oh my goodness, another long video. But we hope you have a great Christmas. We hope that you will consider the topic that we've discussed today and implement some of these ideas so that you can be a good steward but still celebrate this wonderful season called Christmas as we celebrate the birth of our Savior. Hope you have a great day and come back and join us for the next Table Talks.